we got some more lights from the folks over at Viltrox that might be as good as, if not better than the ones I'm using now. Let's take a look. So I've been using these lights that I bought with my own money for about a month or two now, and I'm still liking them a lot. As a matter of fact, I did have that issue with the remote, and I did reach out to the company, and they were nice enough to send me out a new one. So I can't complain there. However, the nice thing is, once we had that conversation, they asked me what I thought of the lights that I purchased, and I said, you know what? These actually aren't that bad. They're good lights. I shouldn't even say that bad. These are good lights. These replace the ones that I were using, and I actually have more control over the Kelvin, the brightness, and because I have the remote, I can actually control it from sitting here to adjust when I'm looking at the monitor and when I'm talking to you guys before I start shooting. This is a 2-light kit compared to the ones that I did buy, which is 3-light kit, but this goes for $131 as of this video. So you could tack on another light by itself, get another remote for about 65 bucks, so you're still less than $200 for what I think are some pretty good lights. So these come in the same nice carry bag that they provide, which is really good for traveling because these do allow you to plug in batteries, which I didn't talk about for the last lights. They do the same thing. These panels, as you can see, are much thinner than the ones I'm using right now. Now, yes, those do have the barn doors, which is nice for directing light, but you know what? It's not a deal breaker when it comes to doing lighting for me personally. Someone out there might believe in that. I don't necessarily do because you can always dim them or you can move them away or bounce them off something. So with the barn doors, it's just an added value in my opinion, but shouldn't be a deal breaker. So the back of this panel here does allow for the 2 batteries, which are the MP F550 and 570 batteries, those big chunkus batteries that you can put in there. And you have your control panel over here, which we'll take a look at in a minute. You also have the ability to plug these in. On the bottom here, you do have the 1/4 thread and, of course, the pin, which keeps that piece in place, which we'll take a look at in a second. The front of the panel is a little bit different than the ones that I am using. Those have the removable plate on it, which can make it a little bit more harsh if you want to do that, but I like the softbox look. These are permanently in here, or at least they look like they are. I don't know if you buy these and you want to remove them and do magnets, but that's up to you. So like I said, this does come with 2 lights currently, and I just, look how thin, it's like as thin as those together with the 2 of them. So it's absolutely amazing. These also come with 2 tripods, the power adapters, as well as, like I just mentioned, the mounts, which you have the thread on top, which is nice. They have the thread that threads right in on the side there, so you're not spinning lights and trying to get them on. And these bottoms do have the cold shoe mounts, which you can slide on or you can thread on to the top of these tripods, depending on whatever you're using. And also don't forget the remote, which this came fully intact, so no problems there. And I didn't take it out yet, but this does the exact same thing that my current remote does with these, which is perfect. Taking a look at the back of the panel, you have your on-off switch, and then you have your multi-function switch here on the right, which allows you to dim and brighten the lights as needed. Now, with a single click of this, it will allow you to go down to the Kelvin and change that as well. Now, when you want to program the remote that comes with this, you turn off the lights, you hold down the button, and you turn it on, and that'll let you set that up as well. Of course, on the left side here, you have your 2 slots for your batteries. And one more time, the thickness of this is absolutely insane. Such a nice looking light. Just to make sure I get this right, I did take a screenshot for the specs on these lights right here. Again, which I honestly didn't see a huge difference between the 2. They run, now this is a single light. Each light is 30 watts of power. There's 96 LED bulbs in there. And it does have the SMD lamp beads, which I'm not sure what that is exactly. The color temperature on these is the same as the ones I'm using. 3300 Kelvin range to 5600 Kelvin. Now these have a CRI rating of 95, and if you're not sure what that is the clarity and the trueness of the color that actually is depicted on the lights themselves as it shines out. I don't have a meter for that, which I probably should get, but a 95 in paper terms is a good number. The brightness on these goes from 20% up to 100, so you can't turn them down under 20%, which I'll be honest with you, I haven't had a problem putting them down to 20% if I was using them. Most of the time, I was turning them up to get more light. The max brightness on these lights is 2500 lumen, and the color temperature at the brightest is 4400 Kelvin, and that's when both bulbs are working, the cool side and the warm side. So they're both a little bit on, which I have here right now, and that gives you the best brightness because both bulbs are working, and it's kind of a good mix in between. So if you go cooler, it's going to drop a little bit. If you go warmer, it's going to drop a little bit. So keeping that in mind, if you're not running it a full 100%, you're probably going to need to bump that up going either way. Max illuminance on these, which I always love this because they always go back and forth between lux and lumen. Lumen is the amount of brightness that you get. Lux is the amount of light that actually falls where you are. You could have a super bright light and the lux could be crappy, which basically means the strength for that light to light up the area width-wise as it's hitting something. So keep that in mind when you're looking at lights. If you want a higher rating, that is definitely something that you want to keep in mind. I mentioned earlier that these do run on the NP-F batteries, and you do need both batteries in each side of these to work. I did try as well as mine to use one battery, and I switched it up back and forth, but you do need both batteries to work this. And they don't last too terribly long. They definitely are battery suckers. But if you're out shooting and you got a couple batteries, it probably gets you through a few hours. So just as an experiment, I'm going to take these two lights, set them up in the exact same spot that I have my current lights, and see who performs better, and see if these really are worth the $319 for 3 lights, or you can get these 3 for less than 200 bucks. So let's try it out. So we went ahead and set up the 2 new lights next to my 2 old lights. We have them set at the exact same color temperature and exact same brightness percentage. Now with this remote, I can control all 4 lights doing their own thing. Let's go ahead and turn off my main light, turn off my secondary light, and then head over and turn on the secondary light, which I did that backwards, and I have my main light on right now. And that's it. Now, looking at it right off the bat, it feels like it's a little cooler than the other setup. I don't know if you agree with me on that one or not.
It feels like it could actually almost be a touch brighter.
You think it's a touch bright?
It could just be because that's like 4 inches closer, but my guess is it's pretty doggone close. It actually feels like, I think maybe you're right, maybe a touch cooler.
Yeah, let's go ahead and switch back to the other 2 and see if it's a little bit warmer on those. Let me just, you know what, let me do some video magic here, and you'll see the difference because it's a lot faster. So, actually, it's really not all that different, to be completely honest with you. I got Michael here helping me out with this, and I say they're almost the same. These might be a touch brighter. It's so difficult. I'm going to have to take a look at the footage and see if there truly is a difference. Now, there should be a difference. There's a reason why is the lumens on the old lights are supposed to be over 1,000 brighter, according to the specs. And but I'll be completely honest with you, it really is tough to see that there's a big difference between these. I keep not hitting the groups. I think these might be a touch cooler than the lights that are there now. Not much. I honestly think you could just set these up the way that you want them, and you're really not going to have an issue. Now, if you really want to go out full bore, you can go ahead and put them all on and really brighten it up. So we set these lights up side by side, and we did a one take already where we put them at the exact same. And we felt that the new ones were a little bit more blue than the old ones. So I went ahead and messed around and changed the new ones, messed with the Kelvin a little bit. Maybe they're off from each other. Maybe that's the difference in price that you're getting. But if all you have to do is adjust it a little bit to where you're happy with the way that it looks, it's worth saving the money. So these are the old lights right now. We set these up, and I will go ahead and use this one remote, and we can turn those off, and boom, and we'll turn on the new ones. And I'll be completely honest with you, with the exception of maybe being a little bit brighter here on the side, I think the barn doors direct the old lights a little bit better. I don't see a huge difference in color between the two. Let's go ahead and switch back to the other ones. And there's your difference between the new ones and the old ones. These are the old ones, and that kind of gives you a little bit quicker look. I honestly don't see a huge difference between the two. I'm sure you can mess with it, but again, we're comparing these side by side, turning the ones on, turning them off, and going. If you're happy with the way that it looks and you need to adjust the Kelvin a little bit, brightness is important. Obviously, you don't want to look like an orange while you're doing a video, but you don't want to look like the Ice Queen either. So if you can find a good balance between the both, brightness is important as well as where the light falls on your table and your subject. You can always fix this with some sort of key lighting or lighting on the side to fill in that so you don't get animal creatures, shadow puppets while you're talking on there. It's really not all that bad. So for over $170 some dollars less for 2 lights only, if you get a third light, you're spending about a little less than 200 bucks. But those 3 lights on the old ones that I have were 319, I think I saw on Amazon. So that's a hell of a deal between the two. So I don't think you can go wrong. You can obviously try them out and send them back from Amazon if you're not happy. But I give a big old thumbs up to these new lights. So I want to thank Viltrox for sending these out to review. You guys appreciate this. It's always good to try these out before you buy them. If I can help you make that decision, that's cool. In the meantime, if you want to check out this video right here, that'd be greatly appreciated. And here's one that YouTube suggested. You can definitely try that out. Of course, don't forget to subscribe. You guys take it easy and have a good one. Thanks, Chuck. I don't think I picked it up.